Hey guys, Coach Jason Durant here. I'm going to show you guys some fundamental squat technique. All right, now I want to start with the squats because this is something that applies to pretty much every lower body movement, whether you're squatting, whether you're doing lunges, deadlifts, whatever. It's the same thought process of movements from your hips to your knees to your ankles and so on, okay? It's just different exercises. But your body should always be doing the same things to get in correct position. Now, why do we do this? Not just because we want you to do things the way that we tell you to do things, but this is very important for correct muscle development, okay? That's good for safety, protecting your spine, your knees, your ankles, all that. It's also good for being efficient. If you're using every single muscle correctly, that's going to allow for best muscle activation for greatest growth, okay? If you use all your muscles and you use it well, you're going to have greatest potential for growth. It's also very good for having well sculpted legs, all right? The best looking legs are the legs that grow in symmetry, all right? There's a reason why bodybuilders look so aesthetically perfect. It's because that's how the body is meant to look, all right? Based on what is correct. So, I'm going to break this down from top of the movement all the way to the bottom of the movement. When you start your setup, you want your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart. Now, everyone has a different width that is appropriate for you, depending on like how long your legs are, how long they are in proportion to your torso. Okay, but a good starting point is about shoulder width or a little wider than shoulder width. Now, when it comes to the toe angle, all right, the direction of your toes should be the same direction of your thighs. See how as I turn myself out, my thigh rotates, my toes should turn together. You don't want to open up like this if I'm only on a slight angle, okay? See how my thigh wants to point in this direction, but it's opening up because my toes are pointing out that. That's how we're going to get internal pressure on our knees, all right? So as my feet comes wider to just outside my shoulders, my toe opens up to just wider than a straight angle, okay? Now what I will do, I'll think about separating the floor with my feet. I'm trying to pull it apart. See how this opens up my knees? That locks my hips into a good position, all right? It's quite an extensive joint, those hips, all right? So imagine it's wobbling around. You want to lock it into place so you lose instability. As soon as there's instability through those knees, then all of a sudden, half your body is working on creating stability. The other half is worried about actually doing the movement. So you lose a lot of force just from that. You also put a lot of pressure on your joints, okay? So I'm opening up the floor with my feet. I will then prime my bum to work. A lot of us have very weak bums. So I'll prime it to work by pushing back. You already create a bit of a stretch or a bit of a flex in your bum. That will just switch on your brain that it needs to be worked. Okay, so you take pressure off your quads. So I load back, but then I sit down into it like I'm sitting into a pocket. Okay, I'm sitting between my legs. I'm not sitting behind my legs. Right, that will allow me to stay a lot more upright. Okay, now when it comes to depth, you want to go as deep down to just before you get a butt wink. That's probably your full range of motion where you're most active. Okay, now a butt wink, see how there my bum hooks under. All of a sudden I've got a bent spine, all right? You don't want pressure going vertically while your spine is bent, okay? So you want to get down close to it. That's how you know your muscles are at full stretch, but you don't want to then create damage through your spine. All right, so I'll come down, come down, come down, come down. Just there is where my butt wink is. Okay, I'll push up before I get to that. All right, now you want to think about a couple of things to make sure you're getting the right muscle activation, all right? You wanna push through, I like to say the outside of your foot, okay? On the inside, we've got our arches, that's unstable, all right? You wanna push on the outside where you've got a flat surface and right through the middle. A lot of people will say push through your heels, that's an overcompensation, all right? If you're pushing through your heels, then that's weight backwards, all right? You're not utilizing your quads as well. So weight through the middle, weight on the outside of our foot, and I like to think about pushing down rather than pushing up. If you're pushing up, okay, your mind goes in towards your upper body, right? You're pushing down, and that's using those big lower body muscles, okay? You wanna make sure that your shoulders are back, you're not overarching, okay? You've got a nice stiff spine. So the direction that my head moves is the same angle that my whole body moves. As my body comes down, my head goes down with it. All right? So some of the major flaws I see with people, they forget about their knees naturally come in, separate the floor, that will open up. Okay, a lot of people come onto their toes. A correction for that, push your knees back. Okay, a lot of people will shift their weight too far back. Okay, all of a sudden they're bent over too far. That means your ankle mobility is crappy. All right, you might need to stretch that out. So some basic stretches just up against the wall. Loosen up your ankles. Okay, so there are a couple of the main breakdowns. So I will go over this squat. Go one by one by one by one, so you see it all pieced together, all right? So I set myself, shoulders are back. If I got a barbell, okay, I'm dragging it down in towards my back. I'm stepped a little wider than shoulder width apart. From here, I force the floor to separate between my feet. Okay, I'm opening up my knees. I'll shift my hips back a little bit to load my glutes. Sit down into it just before I butt wing. I'll push through the center and outside of my foot, down through the floor, finish my movement. Okay, so now that's the fundamentals of a squat. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll give you guys some more as the days progress. Okay, appreciate yous. Enjoy.